everybody, it's Osiris. What's up? Today, you are in for another 15 minutes. Our guest for today is La Palabra. La Palabra is the grandfather of Salsa Romantica, so no matter what anybody says, he is the beginning of what they call Salsa Romantica. We're going to be talking to him in a few minutes. Don't forget, you are watching 15 Minutes the show. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll be right back.
Que nací de la rumba y al compás de una tumba me inspiró este guaguancó y al ver que hoy todo es diferente.
Hey everybody, what's up? It's your girl Osiris. We are in beautiful Griffith Park. It is a beautiful area in the Los Angeles County area. It is near the AFI, American Film Institute, which is a very popular area over here for moviegoers and filmmakers. We are back with La Palabra. As I said, we will be talking to La Palabra today about his book, Journey Beneath My Skin. Say hey, Palabra.
Hi, Osiris. What a beautiful day today.
Isn't it gorgeous in LA?
I just love California.
I know.
Ever since I came here, I've been in love with it.
Yeah? Is it? What's different about California than Miami, really quick?
Well, Miami is okay, I guess, but what I like about California is the energy. Mm-hmm. I always feel like in California I can make things happen.
Yeah, you can. And speaking of energy, let's get right into, now you came from Caminera, Cuba, which at that time in the 60s, that time Castro was in full reign in Guantanamo Bay, the whole area. Your sister that married a Chinese guy who became your stepdad. Now, what happened with that? Tell us about that background.
Your dad married. Second wife.
Yes.
Father was Chinese. From China, right?
So that brought you in touch with Chinese culture and making music over there. Now, I know you've gone to China a few times.
Yes.
So how was it being a young black Cuban growing up in Caminera with a Latin father and then switching to a Chinese stepfather?
Well, it was really something that I observed naturally because my father was living with us, and I just really enjoyed the fact that most of the pictures in the painting in the walls were Chinese, and I really enjoyed the fact that every Thursday he would come and we had a big party for him. So to me it was very natural that he was Chinese. There's a lot of Chinese in Cuba anyway.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
no, people don't know that. Now, how did you lead yourself into music? Like, what happened for you to transition from being just a young lad in Caminera to being the Romantica, king of Salsa Romantica?
Well, what happened is my grandmother, she wanted to teach us to play piano, so she bought a piano for us. And I remember we had to run home to see who would get to the piano first. And I was the one, I was running. And what happened is everybody wanted to learn the piano. My mom, my sister, everybody thought it was the coolest thing. But as time went by, they all stopped playing. But I just fell in love with it. Every time I learned a song, it was like a new love that I discovered. So I just got totally absorbed by the music.
And then, how did you get into salsa? Was that the prominent music over in that area at that time? Or?
Yeah, well, salsa is always been, it's just another name for the Cuban rhythms. Oh. It's like an umbrella, because Cuban rhythm, we always had cha-cha-cha, mambo, danzón, montuno, guajira, but salsa is like an umbrella of all those rhythms. And over here in the United States, it really became a very important thing because I remember when I used to play in the clubs and I say I play Latin music, they would expect me to play Mexican music. But when you say salsa, they go, oh, okay, now we know what it is. It's tropical music. So that's really the only thing that salsa is. But it's really Cuban music.
Okay. So let's fast forward to you ended up in high school at no doubt Cooley High, of all the places in America you could have landed. And Cooley High was full of prominent black musicians, right?
Yes.
I know you had come to California originally with Phoenix Rising, which was a band or a group that Stevie Wonder put together. Is that correct?
Yes, I was in Detroit and I was playing around in the circuit. We used to play the circuit with Anita Baker and
All the famous singers.
yeah, and I performed with a lot of the singing groups in Detroit. But this bass player approached me one time and he said, "Hey, listen, Stevie Wonder is doing a project in California, and I would love for you to play the piano." So I went, I played the piano, Stevie Wonder heard it, and he liked the way I played, and with that group, I migrated to California.
Okay. And so then when you were in Cooley High, what are some of the things you experienced prejudice-wise? I remember you saying there was, you were trying to help a young white student in high school get her books off the floor. She had dropped them, and she started like fighting you off as if you were going to do something. How did that make you feel when you coming from Cuba and coming into America with dark skin?
Well, I always knew that the United States was very racial because even in Cuba, I used to see movies about America, and we used to see the newsreel during the movies, and we used to see that famous Selma Marsh. I remember it because and the dogs and everything. So I remember the United States being very racial. But when I came here, I tried to be not like that. I tried to think that it didn't exist, but it kept hitting me in my face. And one example was that girl you mentioned. I was in high school and she was going up the stairs and she dropped her books. So I bent over to pick it up to give it to her, and I felt all these punches in my back, boom, 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 boom. And I said, "Hey, what's wrong with you?" And she said, "Oh, I thought you were stealing my book." I go, "No, I'm trying to give you your book." So that was an experience of how, the mentality in those days was in the United States. Cooley High School was very racial when I was there, and that's why in Latin music I always talk about the racial part, because Latinos don't really want to get into it. But if you went to Latin America, you see a lot of racial problems, but nobody says anything. It's like they think it's normal. I don't think it's normal.
How were you received by your own kind? I mean, by black? I mean, because over here we're all black, different variations of black, and in addition to the interracial mixtures and all of those. But one would think that upon you arriving and them seeing the color of your skin, do you think that the language you spoke made you separate from regular black folk, or how did you experience
Well,
that?
I think that white Americans, when I first came here, they would try to make you feel different, and they would try to say, "No, you're Cuban, you're not like a black American." But no, I always felt, of course, I had to grow into it, because I remember when I first came to this country, we went to fill out the Social Security, and there was a black lady that was doing the paperwork. And I remember she put black, and we told her, no, we're not black, we're Cuban. So, that was when I first came here. But I learned to really accept the fact that I'm a black man and I'm Cuban, and I don't think any other way. Really.
You would think that by Americans experiencing different prejudice and different aspects of racism, that we would be the last people to be prejudiced against somebody with dark skin. However, lots of dark-skinned people on the planet, not so much people that speak English. Do you think the fact that you speak Spanish differentiates you from the rest of Black America when it comes to your whites' perception of you, or no?
From the white people point of view, it's a different perception. But I must say that the color of your skin is not what makes a person. The only reason that I'm Cuban and Americans are black Americans is the culture. And we might think different because of the culture, that's it. If this black kid was brought up in Cuba, he would be thinking like Cuban. So when it comes to being black, your color is your connecting factor. But the culture is what makes you separate. That's really it.
And that color is why you wrote the book, Journey Beneath My Skin.
Yeah, I wrote
so
my
hold
book.
it. Let's see your book. There it is, people. Let's see if we can zoom in on. Hold it up a little higher, Palabra. We're going to zoom in that. Journey Beneath My Skin. Hold it straight. It's a little crooked. Hold it straight. It's crooked. Hold it straight. There you go, right there. There it is, people. Journey Beneath My Skin. That is La Palabra's book. Now, how is this book being received on the market? How are people receiving it? And it's a Black Latino in pursuit of the American dream. So that has got to strike some interest, just the title alone. What do you think about that?
Well, the book has really strike a note in the community because not too many people talk about this subject. But the reason why I feel obligated to talk about it is because when I created Salsa Romantica in the 80s, it just happens that the record companies liked it so much that they took it over. And when you look at all the artists that recorded Salsa Romantica in the 80s, there was no Black Latinos recording Salsa Romantica. I mean, you can go back in the 80s and see all the album covers. It's either Victor Manuel or Luis Enrique or
Mark Anthony
now.
who's really fair skinned.
Yeah, the major companies did not record a black, and I'm the one that created it. So because I went through all those changes mentally and physically, it was really overbearing on me. I wrote a book because I want people to know the truth behind Salsa Romantica.
And do you feel that you've ever really gotten the credit that you should get for creating this genre of music? I mean, it's not like people go around saying, oh yeah, this on TV when they talk to people, Mark Anthony, Luis Enrique, Julio Iglesias, and those people, it's not like they're going to say, oh yeah, and thanks to the grandfather of Salsa Romantica, La Palabra, they're not going to say that. They're just going to take the beam that's coming to them. What do you think about, what is that about? Is there prejudice among your kind as well as ours, or what's that about?
That's the part of my music that makes me feel bitter because I don't get the recognition that I deserve. Of course, Stevie Wonder had something to do with it because when I recorded Todo Se Rumbo in the 80s, what happened is that was supposed to be the single for the follow-up of Versailles Orchestra. And in the middle of that whole project, Stevie Wonder called me and I had to abandon it. So that's why I kind of lost, I got lost in that show.
You had already gotten here to LA and everything.
I was in LA.
Who sent you out? Did you come out here by yourself or did they send for you?
No, he sent for us.
Okay, and then when you got out here, they decided to discontinue the project. They went on to something
after
else.
3 years. We were working with Stevie Wonder for 3 years. We waited and we were...
Well, what happened to all of the music that you guys did with him? Where is it?
Well, we did a lot of rehearsal, but we went to the studio like twice because he was trying to get the Martin Luther King holiday.
Street established.
And he was traveling and that...
Boulevard, rather.
Yeah, so, it was... No, the holiday, there was no holiday then. So he was going to Washington and marching and trying to get the Martin Luther King holiday going. So time went by and nothing happened, but that's gave birth to Salsa Romantica. What I was doing, waiting for him, I started the Baladas en Salsa, which later became Salsa Romantica.
So now, where do you think Salsa Romantica in terms of music, where does it lie now, and how do you see it developing in the future? I mean, is there still a genre of music called Salsa Romantica, or have they meshed it in with everything else like they normally do?
No, Salsa Romantica is still, actually, it was the most successful genre in salsa music.
In what way?
Monetary-wise. People made more money in Salsa Romantica than in salsa, period.
Yo, que nací de la rumba y al compás de una tumba, me inspiro este guau